My name is Matt, and 6 years ago I was the senior security guard every new hire looked up to. I had the certificates, the training hours, the perfect attendance record, and because of that I got to pick any shift I wanted. Day shift, swing shift, weekends off, whatever kept life easy. Then the company landed a fat new contract guarding a giant 6-story government office building that sat alone like a prison in the woods. No houses, no gas stations, no street lights for miles. Just a 10-foot fence topped with barbed wire, one gate, one side road, and thick trees swallowing everything else. The place felt wrong the first time I saw it, but the overtime check looked right, so when the overnight weekend shift started bleeding people and my supervisor begged me to cover until they could hire more bodies, I said yes. Big mistake. The first 2 weekends were quiet. I would sit in the top floor camera room with the lights off, phone propped up playing downloaded movies, Game Boy in my lap, energy drinks keeping me awake. The thunderstorm that third Saturday night changed everything. Rain hammered the windows and wind rocked the building hard enough to make the cameras shake. Around 2 in the morning I stood up to stretch and walked to the big window that overlooked the back parking lot. Lightning flashed and lit the trees beyond the fence bright white. In that half second I saw a person sprint from one trunk to another, 20 feet in a blink. Another flash, and the tree was empty. I told myself it was exhaustion messing with my eyes. I left the room, chugged a monster, and came back 5 minutes later to find the rear parking lot camera dangling by its wires, screen black. Heavy wind, I thought. No big deal. I typed the damage report and went back to my movie. Then the keypad chime went off. Someone had just punched the correct code into the back door, the one that opens straight into the rear parking lot. Green light on the panel, door unlocked, no memo about maintenance or extra guards. My stomach turned ice cold. I reached for the desk phone, dead. Cell phone, 0 bars. The building is a signal black hole on a good day, and the storm had killed whatever ghost signal I sometimes caught. I stepped into the hallway planning to pace until I got 1 bar, and every light in the place went out. Total darkness. The intruder had found the breaker panel or the generator. I bolted for the service stairwell because the lobby was only 5 floors down and my truck keys were in my pocket. The stairwell was pitch black and smelled like wet concrete. I eased the door open, slipped inside, and started tiptoeing down, using the handrail to guide me. I figured if someone was coming up, I would hear them long before they heard me. I made it to the 4th floor landing when the door at the bottom banged open. Heavy boots started climbing, slow and deliberate. My training said draw my weapon and challenge, but my brain said run. I spun and crept back up as fast and quiet as I could. On the 6th floor there is a maintenance ladder that goes to the roof hatch. I decided to climb halfway up and hide in the dark above the doorframe. Halfway there my holster clanged against the metal rail. The boots below stopped. Then they charged. I sprinted the last flights, slammed the 6th floor door open hard, let it swing shut loud, and kept climbing the ladder. The intruder bought the fake out, crashed through the door into the hallway, and gave me 10 seconds. I dropped back to the landing, hit the stairs running, and flew down all 6 floors with my heart in my throat. Somewhere around the 2nd floor I heard a crash and a grown man scream in pain behind me. He had tripped in the dark. I didn't stop to check. I exploded into the lobby, fumbled my master key into the front door, and ran through sheets of rain to my truck. The guy in black with the masked face burst out the door right as I hit the start button. I floored it, tires spinning on wet asphalt, and didn't breathe until I hit the main road and got 1 bar on my phone to call 911. Police found a dropped handgun on the stairs, fully loaded, no serial numbers. They never found the guy. The building had nothing worth stealing unless you count filing cabinets full of paperwork nobody reads. I still drive past that fence sometimes and feel my chest tighten. Overtime isn't worth your life. A year later I took what I thought was an easier gig in a corporate office tower in New Jersey. Nights were boring, and boring paid the rent. The building emptied by 9, and after that it was just me, the hum of fluorescent lights, and 12 camera feeds. One midnight I noticed movement in the underground garage, a tall figure in a dark coat drifting between cars like he owned the place. No badge, no cleaning cart, no reason to be there. I called my supervisor. He told me to watch but not approach. I couldn't just watch. I took the elevator down, flashlight in hand, and walked every row. Nothing. Back upstairs, there he was again on the exact same feed, same spot, like I had never left. My skin crawled. 20 minutes later he disappeared near the stairwell door. I flipped through every camera, no sign of him. Then the lobby elevator dinged all by itself. Wet bare footprints crossed the marble and stopped. Bare feet in January. I radioed for backup and started walking floors anyway because that's what you do when you're 25 and think you're tougher than you are. 5th floor, one office door cracked open. I nudged it with my flashlight. Empty. I stepped back into the hallway and heard wet steps behind me, fast. I spun and caught a glimpse of the long coat 30 feet away rounding the corner. I ran. He followed. I hit the stairwell, flew down, slammed the door, and waited. Silence. Backup finally showed up an hour later. We swept the building top to bottom and found nothing, no prints, no coat, no corrupted footage, just gaps where the recording should have been. I quit 30 days later. Some nights I still wake up reaching for a flashlight that isn't there, listening for footsteps that never quite touch the floor. Fast forward to last week. I decided to try mobile patrol because you're in a car most of the night and nobody expects you to chase ghosts through stairwells. First night of training, my supervisor Mark and I roll up to a medical clinic in Mississauga at 1:15 in the morning for a routine exterior check. The underground garage gate is wide open. The front glass door is smashed in. No alarm. Mark swears under his breath because new contract or not, silent alarms should be screaming. We step inside slow. The elevator starts moving on its own, floor 1, 2, 3, 4. Stops at the top. Mark pulls his baton. My dinner tries to come back up. We ride to 4 expecting someone to rush us the second the doors slide open. Nothing but darkness. We flip on lights, clear every exam room, every closet. Empty. Then footsteps race down the stairwell. We yank open the door and the steps stop dead. Silence so thick you can taste it. Mark keys the radio and tells dispatch we're trapped on 4 with someone hiding below, possibly armed, waiting to ambush. Dispatch orders us to freeze until backup arrives. 15 minutes feels like 15 years. We stand back to back whispering encouragement neither of us feels. Senior supervisor finally walks in yelling, "Security." We link up and sweep downward floor by floor. 3rd floor bathroom, nothing. Then the front door slams and running steps fade into the night. We hit the lobby, 30 seconds too late. Whoever it was vanished into Mississauga suburbs like smoke. Mark and I look at each other knowing we checked every closet twice. Either that person folded himself into a ceiling tile or something else was riding the elevator that night. I have to go back alone this weekend. I keep checking my rear view mirror on the drive home, half expecting to see the elevator lights blinking behind me in the dark. 3 different buildings, 3 different nights, same cold lesson. When the lights go out and the cameras blink off, being armed doesn't make you safe. It just means the person hunting you knows exactly where you are and how long it takes to reach the exit. I still work security because bills don't care about nightmares, but every time I badge into an empty building after dark I hear those 3 sets of footsteps, one with boots, one barefoot, one running away, and I wonder which pair is going to catch me first. The hook still hits the same. Imagine clocking in for the night shift thinking the worst thing that could happen is falling asleep at the desk. Then the power dies, the cameras go black, and you realize the only other heartbeat in a 6-story government building in the middle of nowhere belongs to someone who just cut the lights and is climbing the stairs with a loaded gun to find you. These are 3 true nights American security guards will never forget. But those 3 nights were only the beginning. What follows is the rest of the story nobody ever puts in the incident report. My name is Matt, and after that thunderstorm night in the government building I swore I would never pull another solo overnight again. I kept that promise for exactly 11 months. Rent went up, the truck needed brakes, and the word, overtime, started sounding like a lifeline instead of a death sentence. The company promised me the contract had been reviewed. Extra lighting around the fence, new cameras, motion sensors that actually worked, and a direct panic line to state police that bypassed the dead zone. They even installed a backup generator that kicked in within 8 seconds of a power cut. I told myself it was safer now. I told myself a lot of things. The first month back was almost normal. I worked Friday and Saturday overnights, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., double pay, triple on holidays. The new generator hummed like a cat every time the grid flickered. The motion lights bathed the parking lot in cold white whenever a raccoon got brave. I kept a portable signal booster on the desk that gave me 2 bars no matter what. I felt stupidly proud of how prepared I was, like I had outsmarted whatever had happened before. Then December rolled in, bringing early darkness and a cold that turned your breath into ghosts. It was the Friday before Christmas, quiet enough that the highway 3 miles away sounded like a rumor. I was halfway through a cup of gas station coffee when every motion light around the fence snapped on at once. Not one section, the entire perimeter. The new cameras auto-tracked whatever triggered them and all 12 outside feeds locked onto the same spot, the tree line directly behind the building. Nothing moved, just trees swaying in wind that wasn't strong enough to explain every light popping. I zoomed every camera, still nothing. I hit the exterior PA and announced, "This is private property, identify yourself." My voice echoed off the fence and died in the woods. The lights timed out after 2 minutes and everything went dark again. I wrote it off as a glitch, logged it, and went back to my movie. 40 minutes later the lights did it again. Same time, same place, same nothing on camera. This time the generator kicked on for half a second even though the building power never dropped. I felt the floor vibrate under my boots. The signal booster on the desk dropped to 0 bars and stayed there. I grabbed the radio, thumbed the panic button, and got nothing but static. The direct police line rang busy. Not dead, busy, like every trooper in the county was already on a call. I told myself to breathe. I had protocols for this. I locked the control room door, slid the desk against it, and waited for the cavalry that never came. At 2:14 a.m. the keypad at the back door chimed. Green light. Someone punched the code on the first try again. I stared at the screen waiting for a figure to appear in the hallway feed. Nobody did. The door opened, then closed. No heat signature, no shadow, no sound. Just the soft click of the latch. I drew my duty weapon for the first time since training and realized my hands were shaking so bad I couldn't keep the front sight steady. I forced myself to the window and peeled 2 blinds apart. The motion lights were still off. The rain had stopped hours ago, but the asphalt glistened like oil. That's when I saw the footprints. They started at the fence line where a section of barbed wire had been peeled back like a sardine can, continued straight across the parking lot, and stopped directly under the dangling camera that had never been repaired. The footprints were bare, wide, and deep, like whoever made them weighed twice what a man should. They ended in a perfect circle of melted asphalt the size of a dinner plate. The edges steamed in the cold air. I radioed again, screaming into static. Nothing. I did the only thing I could think of. I hit every light switch in the control room, killed the monitors so the glow wouldn't silhouette me, and crawled under the desk with my pistol pointed at the door. I counted heartbeats instead of minutes. At some point I realized I was whispering the Lord's Prayer like my grandmother taught me when I was 6. I hadn't said it since her funeral. The door handle turned slowly. Once, twice, then stopped. Something heavy leaned against the other side. The desk scraped forward an inch. I thumbed the safety off. The pressure stopped. Footsteps walked away, slow, like the person was dragging one leg. They faded down the hallway toward the stairwell. I stayed under that desk until the generator cycled off and the motion lights finally came back on at dawn. When the day shift arrived I was still there, gun in my lap, teeth chattering from cold I couldn't feel. They found the peeled back fence, the footprints, the melted circle. The control room door had 4 perfect finger-shaped dents in the steel where something had squeezed hard enough to bend metal. No fingerprints, no DNA, no explanation. The state police took the footage, interviewed me for 6 hours, and told me to take some time off. I took permanent time off. I still have the dented door handle in a box under my bed. Some nights I take it out just to remind myself it was real. After the government building I bounced between day jobs for a while. Mall cop, hospital transport, armored truck, anything with sunlight and people. Nothing stuck. The pay was garbage and the boredom was worse than fear. Eventually I landed the corporate tower gig in New Jersey because the posting said, minimal public interaction, and, quiet overnight environment. I needed quiet. I thought quiet would fix me. The building was 15 stories of glass and ego in the middle of a business park that shut down at 6 sharp. My post was a marble lobby that smelled like lemon polish and money. The garage feed guy showed up my 3rd week. I recognized the feeling immediately, that prickling at the back of your neck that says you're being watched by something that already knows your name. I lasted longer this time, almost 4 months, because I told myself it was just a stalker, not whatever melted asphalt in the woods. Human evil I could handle. He escalated the way predators do. First it was shadows on camera. Then wet footprints that dried before backup arrived. Then notes. Always the same 3 words written in black Sharpie on yellow sticky notes stuck to the inside of elevator doors. I see you. I saved every one in a plastic bag like evidence. My supervisor thought it was a prank until the night the elevator opened on the lobby and every sticky note was arranged on the floor to spell those same 3 words in foot-tall letters. That was the night the bare footprints led straight to my desk and stopped. A single drop of blood sat in the center of my chair, still warm when I touched it. I started carrying 2 guns. One on my hip, one in an ankle holster. I memorized every blind spot in the camera system. I slept in the lobby with the lights on because the dark had started following me home. I would wake up in my apartment at 3 a.m. convinced I heard wet footsteps in the hallway outside my door. My landlord found bare footprints in the carpeted corridor one morning. Size 14. No shoes in the building bigger than an 11. The final night I broke protocol and baited him. I left my post, took the service elevator to the garage, and waited in the darkest corner with both guns drawn. I figured if he wanted me he could come get me on my terms. The elevator dinged. Doors opened. Empty. Then every car alarm in the garage went off at once. Strobe lights turned the concrete into a nightclub from hell. I swung my flashlight and saw him standing on the hood of a BMW 20 feet away, coat flapping though there was no wind. His face was wrong, too smooth, like a mannequin someone had forgotten to finish. He tilted his head the way a dog does when it hears a new sound, then stepped off the car and walked straight toward me. No hurry, no sound. The alarms cut off the second his feet touched the ground. I fired 6 rounds center mass. The muzzle flashes lit him up like a strobe. Every bullet hit, every bullet disappeared. No blood, no holes in the coat. Just 6 tiny puffs of smoke that smelled like ozone. He kept coming. I ran backward until my shoulders hit a concrete pillar. He stopped an arm's length away and leaned in until I could see my own reflection in the blank plastic of his face. Then he whispered the only thing he ever said to me, voice like 2 pieces of styrofoam rubbing together, "You're relieved." The lights came back on. He was gone. My magazine was empty. 6 casings lay at my feet. The BMW had 6 perfect circles melted into the hood where the bullets had passed through him and kept going. I turned in my badge the next morning. They found the casings. They found the melted hood. They never found the footage because every camera in the garage went black for exactly 9 seconds, the time it took him to cross 20 feet and speak. I still have the sticky notes. Sometimes I lay them out on my kitchen table and try to remember what my own reflection looked like in that blank face. Mobile patrol was supposed to be the cure. Drive around, flashlights on empty construction sites, sign a logbook, go home. No buildings, no stairwells, no elevators that move by themselves. My first night training with Mark in Mississauga should have been easy. A busted door and a silent alarm sounded like a simple B&E until the elevator started touring floors with nobody inside. When Mark radioed dispatch and said the word, ambush, I felt every scar from the last 2 jobs open at once. We survived that night because backup came fast and the runner was faster. But the damage was done. I finished training. I got my own route. I started noticing patterns. Every site I visited had something slightly wrong. A gate that should have been locked hanging open. A motion light that stayed on for exactly 30 seconds then died. A single bare footprint in fresh concrete that wasn't there an hour earlier. I kept a notebook. After 3 months I had 27 incidents across 12 sites. Every one on my route. None on anyone else's. I tried to quit. My supervisor offered me a raise and a new truck with better lights. I took the raise. I needed the money. I told myself I was being paranoid. Then came the night that broke the pattern. It was a strip mall in Brampton, 3:07 a.m., routine lock check. I parked nose out the way they teach you so you can leave fast. I stepped out of the truck and the air smelled like the inside of a freezer that had been left open too long. Every light in the parking lot went dark at once. Not flickered, not dimmed, just gone. My flashlight worked but the beam stopped 3 feet in front of me like it hit a wall. That's when I heard all 3 of them. Boots on wet asphalt behind me, the government building intruder. Bare feet slapping tile to my left, the corporate tower stalker. Running sneakers fading into distance ahead, the clinic runner who got away. 3 different rhythms, 3 different directions, all getting closer. I drew my pistol and backed against the truck. The darkness pressed in until I couldn't see the hood 2 feet away. The sounds circled me like wolves. I fired once into the air. The muzzle flash lit up 3 faces for half a second. The masked man in black. The plastic-faced coat guy. And a kid, maybe 19, wearing the same terrified expression I probably had the night I ran from the clinic. Then darkness again. I don't remember getting back in the truck. I remember driving 90 miles an hour down the highway with every light behind me dead. I remember pulling into a 24-hour Tim Hortons and sitting under fluorescent lights until sunrise, crying into a coffee I couldn't taste. I remember the dashboard camera footage that showed my truck sitting empty in the parking lot for 4 minutes while I was supposedly inside it. I quit the next day. For real this time. I moved 3 provinces away, changed my name, got a day job pouring concrete. I thought distance would fix it. It didn't. Last week I was on a build site in Regina, middle of the afternoon, sun high, crew all around me. I looked up from the forms and saw them standing at the tree line. All 3, just watching. The kid lifted one hand like he was waving goodbye. Then they turned and walked into the trees and didn't leave footprints in the snow. I don't work nights anymore. I don't own a flashlight. I don't answer unknown numbers. But every time I close my eyes I still hear 3 sets of footsteps catching up, and I know one day they're going to finish whatever they started. Because the truth I learned across 3 jobs, 3 cities, and 3 nightmares is simple. Once they see you, once they decide you're part of the route, there's no clocking out. The shift never ends. You just keep waiting for the next chime of a keypad you never gave the code to, the next wet print that wasn't there 5 minutes ago, the next set of lights that go out all at once and don't come back on until morning. And somewhere out there, some new guard is picking up overtime he thinks he needs, sitting alone under flickering screens, telling himself it's just one more weekend. I hope he's wrong, but I know he's not. Because I used to be him. And they're still following.